Good evening, everyone, and welcome to the Slay to Success Talk Show. My name is Rochelle Slay, or Slay Queen Hemingway, CEO and founder of Slay to Success. And y'all, we have a special treat. All right. Now, I know some of y'all said, I'm going to be there. I'm going to make it. So hopefully you're able to come in on this conversation because we are going to be sharing a lot of things that people may not understand or know about leadership, wellness, personal branding, a little bit of business acumen. And the purpose of this show is really to showcase men and women who are living life on their own terms. Okay. And in the process of that, they are slaying to success. So slay means to kill it, to dominate it, and to nail it, to be on point, to impress greatly, and to dream big and work hard until you own it. It is also an acronym. It is a method for which you can increase your confidence level, get greater visibility, and translate your career or your business or whatever that you are doing into impact and influence. And that is strategic identity, leadership presence, aesthetic authority, and your narrative power. So as you come on in the show, please let us know who you are, where you're streaming in from, so that way we can give you a shout out. Okay. Because I'm all about like people come in here live on the show. You could be anywhere else and you decided, hey, I want to spend a little time with the Slay or Slay Queen and their SLAYMAZING guests. So tonight, y'all, who do I have? Well, I have my great friend and my sister in arms here with us tonight. And this show has been in the works for quite some time. We have been friends, I would say now is probably going on, and she'll let me know. We're trying to calculate the math. It's maybe been about 10 years now. And through all of the things that we have been through, we have found our way back to one another in some ways. And so we have seen each other a couple of times over the past few months, and which has been extra special. And I was like, you know what, Queen? It is time for you to come on the Slay to Success Talk Show because we have a lot of things that are in common, experiences, situations that we can definitely talk more about. And we want to share that with you all tonight. So who do I have tonight? Again, I have the honor and the privilege of introducing my great friend and sister in arms, Tonya Mack. And she is a retired Lieutenant Colonel, okay, United States Air Force officer who proudly served for 26 years before turning her passion for helping others into a mission of empowering people through health and wellness. As a founding affiliate with Make Wellness, she helps people optimize their health with natural precision peptides so they can feel their best, age with confidence, and live life to the fullest. She is a passionate advocate for leadership, wellness, and female empowerment, and she inspires others to prioritize their health, embrace new opportunities, and realize their full potential. Whether she's speaking about wellness or entrepreneurship or even personal growth, her message is simple, y'all. It is your best years aren't behind you, they're waiting for you to decide they're ahead. Okay, so I want you to put your hands together for my sister from another mister, Tonya Mack.
Hi, everybody. Queen, first of all, I want to thank you for sharing your platform.
Yes.
And then before we get started, I just have a couple things.
Yeah.
I'm a person who believes in divine timing
Oh,
and
yeah.
God's divine timing. And you and I had to be at Luke Air Force Base and processing at the same time
Yeah.
and being open to meeting new people. Not
Yeah.
only that, but sometimes there's a difference between officer and enlisted. And I don't see that. I just make connections with people. And I'm so grateful that you were open and we established this amazing friendship so long ago. And I also want to thank you because I'm super picky and particular about who I let in my circle. It has to be someone I trust, who I respect, who I like. And I'm grateful for you because I know you're a safe place, whether that's business, whether that's life, whether that's family, I know that you're a safe place. So thank you so much for
Oh.
being you.
Hey, look, don't let me go get these tissues right away because you know what, you over here making it all sappy and everything. But I thank you. I thank you. I received the flowers. I feel very much the same. It has been a journey. Okay, we have probably had a lot of lessons that we had learned throughout our careers, and to be able to come together and actually share at this point of our lives, because I don't think we were ready to share those when we were still in service or even a little bit afterwards. So this is a perfect opportunity for us to join forces, Queen. Okay, superpowers ignite.
Absolutely.
We're going to help other women to see that they can also live in their fullest potential. And we have Bonnie here. So, hey, Bonnie, how you doing? Welcome to the Slay to Success Talk Show. We're so happy. Bonnie is a retired chief. She was actually at Luke prior to you getting there. I think just a little bit less than an overlap, or maybe you were there for a short period of time, but she was at the med group, and she was the med group superintendent. So there was been like a change of guards. I went and deployed after her. So she was first downrange. I went and replaced her and then kept on. So happy that you're here, Queen. And thank you for your service and your sacrifices. Okay. She says, hello, beautiful ladies. Hello, Queen.
Hello.
So we got some history. Okay. And you mentioned Luke Air Force Base because that's where we met. So, tell us a little bit about Tonya, okay? Because we talking about Tonya. We ain't talking
Yeah.
about, but we will intertwine that and weave that into our conversation. But tell us a little bit about yourself prior to you going into the military. Kind of what were reasons why you went in, and your experiences, early experiences, and then we'll just walk into, kind of where we are today.
Okay. Well, I joined the military right after high school. So I didn't have a lot of experience before the military. I was a military brat. My father was in the Air Force. So I have been in or around the Air Force my entire life. Had I always planned to join the military? Probably not. But I was one of those people who graduated high school and didn't know what I wanted to be when I grew up. But I did know that I wanted to go to college, and getting a master's degree was just the thing that I wanted to do. So the only way that I knew how to do that without causing my parents a lot of financial debt was to go into the military. And I figured that I could figure out who I was, go to school, travel a little bit, and just kind of realize and grow up and see who Tonya Mack really is.
Mm. Yeah. So, you mentioned you came in right after high school,
Yes.
with no military experience except for, like being a military brat. Like you didn't do JR or OTC or any of those programs or anything like that. But you had a vision. Like you knew you wanted to get your master's degree. It was a vision of yours, right?
Yes.
And
Uh-huh.
so, going in, and you came in right away enlisted, or did you come in as an officer?
I came in enlisted, and of course, I enlisted. When you could sign up at a time, you could sign up for 6 years and graduate basic training with 2 stripes versus a flick
Mm-hmm.
sleeve. So
Mm-hmm.
that's what I did, and yeah, I started out my enlisted career, and I had figured out my path being enlisted, right?
Mm-hmm.
And I had great bosses and great mentors who always saw something in me, something more than I saw for myself. And
Mm.
they always pushed me to do things to distinguish myself from my peers. Of course, in the military, that's always one of the things that you want to do. You want to stand out. You want to be a leader among leaders, so to speak.
Right.
So, my boss, who was like a father to me, he was the support group commander, if you can think about this. I was a staff sergeant working for him at the admin in the front office. And he was like, Tonya, you need to become an officer. And I was
Mm.
like, no, I don't. I didn't know
Wow.
anything. And see, being enlisted, most of the officers that I had dealt with were not
Yeah.
friendly. They weren't
Yeah.
kind. And
Yeah.
I was like, I don't know about that, but I do know my path over here. And he said, well, I really think you should think about it and I'll make a deal with you. So I was studying for my next rank enlisted wise to take my test for promotion. He said, I need you to do that, and I need you to study for the Air Force officers qualifying test.
Mm-hmm.
And of course, I agreed. And he said, whichever one works out, then that's what we're going to do.
Yeah.
Well, your girl missed my next rank by 2 stinking points, but I got
Mm-hmm.
the minimums required for the Air Force officers qualifying test, the AFOQT. And I was
Yeah.
like, oh Lord, here we go. Now I got to do something with this, right?
Right.
So back then, you had to put in a package to get your commission, and I was going ROTC because I didn't have a bachelor's degree yet, and there were certain requirements. You had to meet up with the commandant of cadets for the college that you want to go to, and
Mm-hmm.
put this package together with all your reports and all these things. Well, I was applying to go to the University of Nebraska, Omaha, because I was already there in Nebraska at Offutt Air
Yeah.
Force Base. And telling you how God works, the commandant of cadets at UNO was my boss's friend. So I
Mm.
had to go interview with him, and he's like, Tonya, just go. You got it. He already in, but just go. This is just, to check the box.
That's right.
So, girl, I did that, package submitted, and got accepted. So the rest is history. Tonya Mack went to University of Nebraska, Omaha, did ROTC, and got my commission that way.
Wow. That's amazing. You know what I mean? And I love the storyline too, because, you saw like officers like in what you experienced being mean and not kind and unfriendly and so forth and so on.
Like they were a step above.
Exactly. Yeah. Well, there is that. There is
Mm-hmm.
sometimes that's what they carry. But not all. Okay.
Right,
And you
right.
certainly weren't that when I met you. So I was like, man, like you were like one of us, but it didn't understand that you also were on the enlisted side, right? So you understood, what happens on that side of the house when it comes to the ranks in the Air Force. So, talking through your military career, I know that we both experienced some very significant challenges throughout our career. And in fact, that's where we um, met. It was at a time where we both leaned on each other to get through some challenging, I guess, situations that kind of happened. And I don't look at it now happening to us, it would happen for us. So that
Absolutely.
way we can help others and empower them and to navigate into a system that wasn't designed for us to succeed in the first place. So, what are some lessons learned? We'll just stay, kind of there, right? So what are the lessons learned throughout some of those challenging experiences?
Well, personally, I like to let people know that I'm a Christian and that I
Yeah.
have faith in God. So,
Yeah.
my faith definitely got stronger because there were situations that I was in that once I did all I could do, um, it had to be resolved out of my hands. So that taught me total dependence on God, first of all.
Mm,
Um, Today, I am very confident in who I am, what I bring to the table, all those things. And I really think that going through some of those tough experiences in the military led me to where I am today. You know,
mm,
um,
mhm,
because there's people who, for no reason, want to knock you off a pedestal that they put you on. They may
mm,
see that you are a leader, that your people love you, that they follow you, that they want you around. Um, so they will try to tear down your character or tear down the person that you are. And
mhm,
sometimes those situations lasted for so long that I was like, Lord, am I the one that's messed up here? Or
Yeah.
am I really all those things that they're saying about me?
Yeah.
So I can look back now and be grateful
Mhm.
for that experience, but that was tough.
Yeah.
And it's not like I didn't know I was a good person before, but now I'm unshakable in that. And I
Mm.
know I have a heart for good. I know I um, want people to excel. I want to help people believe in themselves and see their vision and make it plain for them and help them along the way. So uh, there's always some lessons and leadership, but
Yeah.
and some of them are hard, but
Yeah.
we made it through. We're still here and we're the better for it.
Yeah. I agree. I mean, it was like you said, it was painful. And I love how you said, they're trying to tear you down on a pedestal that they put you on, and so when they see that your reputation and, now that I'm in this space where I talk about the branding aspect, it's because your brand was of excellence. And when people see that, they don't know what to do with it, right?
Right.
They don't know what to make of it. So all they a lot of people resort to will just try to tear down their character, or make them feel like they don't know exactly what they've been doing all along, right? And so you could feel isolated,
Yes.
and you could feel very unsure of yourself and doubting yourself, and but not even trusting yourself at
And you're on
times.
guard. You're on guard
Yeah, all day, you
all
don't
day,
know
every
what's
day.
going to happen.
Yes. Yes.
So that guarded feeling, that's stress. Okay, it requires a lot of energy, unnecessary energy,
Mm.
and it takes a toll. It takes a toll, so, and recovering from that, because I
Mhm.
know that not we're not alone in this, Tonya. We know others who have been in these types of situations too. So there's a recovery process, and
Right.
trying to, like, it's almost like, well, you tried to ruin my reputation. You tried. And now I have to kind of build it back up in some sort of a ways. You were taking daggers at my credibility, So I know that when we met, we were in isolation,
Yes.
and so
It's
we
lonely at the
created
top.
this. Huh?
It's lonely at the top.
Oh yeah, very, very much so. People say it's not, but there are things that we could not share with others
Mhm.
because they were not at that level of experience to understand and to
Right.
process and to be trusted with the information that they're hearing, because again, knowledge is power. And
Absolutely.
so
And
when
so
someone is going through stuff, it's like, oh, I know this, right? What were you gonna say?
going back to how we opened and how I said you're a safe place.
Yeah,
That was even more the case back then. You know what I'm saying?
yeah,
Because you can only share with people who have the maturity and the
yes,
wherewithal to protect
yeah,
information and how you're
yeah,
feeling. And you can only be vulnerable with people that you trust.
yeah, yeah. And it's just like the unknown, the uncertainties of higher level executive type leadership,
Right.
right? And I thought I was going to get like the secret ring with the pat, then all the things, and then it did not happen that way at all. And so having to deal with, this is my reality. Now, this is my reality. How do I continue on? And so, we both did decades of service in the Air Force. And then, the lessons that we have learned in our Air Force careers have been beneficial, if you will. However, okay, so first let me stop here because Vonnie says, and I just want to validate her comment here. I've lived in that isolation, Queens. Yes. And I think all of us have, especially when you get to a higher level of leadership, where no one really discusses that. They just say, well, congratulations, you've earned your rank or your position or your role. And talking about sisterhood and having a circle is something that absolutely is necessary. So for anyone who's still in the military at those levels, like really finding people or person, okay, finding your person through seasons is so important. Can you hear me?
I can. Can you hear me?
Okay, perfect. Y'all, we got like little lag. The weather out here is straight crazy. Okay, so it's like pouring down, cats and dogs over here. I'm in Maryland, and Tonya's in Arizona, so that's kind of like a little bit of a thing. But let's talk through like transition, but which I think is, again, we both transitioned within a year. I think it was about maybe a year of one another. And we actually reached out to one another because you were starting in your entrepreneurial journey. I was starting in mine. And we were like, we're dealing with transition, like how to deal with being out of a system that we were conditioned for so long and having now to like figure out what exactly were we missing. What was going on out here when we were in service? So tell us a little bit about your transition. Like, how was that for you?
You know what? First of all, I want to applaud you. I applaud myself, and I applaud people who chose to take a different path that was total opposite of what they had known for years. Okay. We didn't play it safe. There's a lot of people who leave the military and they go right into something else that is doing the same thing outside of the military. And I always encourage people to find their joy, what makes them happy, and maybe find something that does that, and all money ain't good money.
They sure ain't.
Listen, so live, have a life, figure out what makes you happy. If it's travel, if it's spending time with family and friends, do all those things. I say that, but you have to be willing to put in the work and realize that it ain't going to be easy, that you're going to have to figure some things out. You got to figure out what matters to you, what's important to you, and define yourself outside of the uniform. And that was so important for me because I didn't want to be Colonel Mack. I'm the Mack. I'm Tonya Mack.
That's right, the Mack.
Right?
I love that.
So it's hard work if you don't just go into something that you already knew and you could just change uniforms, put on civilian clothes. But I knew that I wanted to do my own thing. I didn't know quite what that was, but I knew I could figure it out. And I didn't have anything to prove to myself or anybody. I didn't feel the need to prove my qualifications to another hiring authority. I wanted to live life on my own terms, however that was. And, I'm a relationship person, and being in the military, all my people are somewhere else. And I treasure time with my people. So I needed to find something that allowed me to do those things and to still be fulfilled personally. I've always wanted to lead and empower women. So I knew I wanted to do something in that capacity.
Yeah.
I wanted to be able to be completely Tonya Mack and wear big earrings and have pink fingernails and be cute and do my own thing without having to be conservative and have all these rules that I had to follow. I just wanted to be Tonya Mack. So it took me a minute to get my footing, but I was determined, and I had other people that I could ask, seek their advice, and then just kind of figure out who I wanted to be and how I wanted to live my life on this side. And here it is almost 7 years later, and I'm so happy. I never even realized that I could be this happy. And
Mm.
could I be making a lot more money? Yep. But
Yep.
am I good? I am so good.
Hmm.
You can't put a price on peace.
No,
And I
you
have
cannot.
that.
Yeah. You know
So,
what? I mean, I think that too speaks a lot to who you are, and you honored yourself, and you knew what you needed. And so taking that path of what you need, and not necessarily, the desires of what society says that we should do, because it is the natural progression at times to be like, oh, okay, well, you did service, you go back into the federal or the government space, or you go into something that's, more stable, first and the 15th, or, that you're going to get. Now, I'm not saying not to go there, okay? Because these are choices. These are what you want to do, right? And so if you feel comfortable going back to those spaces, by all means, right? Like I'm
absolutely.
not the one. But for me and you, we decided, hey, you know what? Let's take a different path and see that works for the lifestyle that we want. And so, the other day when you sent me the book, Be the One. And so, y'all, if you have not read this book, Be the One, like I'm gonna need like you to go and put it in your Amazon cart like right now.
Come on now.
I'm on
It's
like
an easy
chapter
read.
8.
Easy read.
Easy read. And it talks about like living an unforgettable life. You know what I mean? Like, I felt like that book was speaking to what we have both been striving to do, is to
Hmm.
live an unforgettable life on our own terms,
Right.
and seeing where where we're gonna go with this. I don't know. Like, I don't know from day to day, like what is going to happen, but I'm with you. And it is the lifestyle, right? It is most desirable for what we have going on over here. Okay. Now Dominic went back. Yeah, he went back into the federal space. He had a job that he has sought out for, and he absolutely loves going into the work. So I'm like, hey, okay, go into the work, right? But we also have our son who is 16 years old. And so it's like needed flexibility and the freedom to move how I can move, and then still be able to take him and do all the things that he needs to, because that was the priority for me.
Hmm.
When we could not go and see our kids because they were at the child care center, in our situation, and it was like, well, I don't know. I spend a couple of hours with them, and then, we go to bed, and then we start all over again. And it was a lot of sacrifice, a lot. That's why when I say thank you for your service, I add in your sacrifices, because you just don't know like all the things that we had to do to show up in the uniform. And
Absolutely.
now the transition of, having a little bit of the space to decide, right? And to choose what you think is best for you. And there's no right or wrong answer. It is just making a decision. And then we made this decision, and we're finding more and more military members that are transitioning or opting to come into the entrepreneurial space,
Yeah.
you know? So your transition, as far as we'll talk about some of the feelings and the angst of transition, because I know we have some people that are still active duty,
Hmm.
who are maybe in the midst of transitioning now, especially at the higher levels of leadership that's in the Air Force. So, you know, what were you feeling through transition that was a little bit like, oh my goodness, I didn't know this was going to happen, and like just share a little bit about that.
So much. There's so much. First of all, there's the fear of the unknown.
Mhm.
For 26 years, there wasn't that much you had to think about other than getting to work on time, being in shape, fitting in your uniform, getting to work, doing the job, you know. So, fear of the unknown and being in the military, we're all kind of regimented people. I'm a list maker. I'm a I have to be productive each day. So, I got to cross some things off my list. So figuring out what that looked like, fear of the unknown, I don't function well in chaos and not knowing. I need to know. Even in personal relationships or whatever, if I'm wondering about something or I think maybe we got something to discuss, hey sis, let's have a conversation, so fear of the unknown. And then you always are grateful to make it to retirement. But what does your retirement pay really look like? And is it really going to be half of what I've been used to getting? And am I going to have to change my lifestyle? And, that. Okay. So fear of the unknown, your finances. Oh, and your medical. Do I get TRICARE? Do I go to the VA? And what is covered? And can I go to the emergency room? And what if I'm, there's a lot of systems and things that you have to figure out. And it isn't easy. And I like talking to people, not pressing a 1 or 2 or 3 to get to this person. And then that's another robot and that's this or that. I need to talk to people and understand. So, you can go through TAP and all those things, but you have to be intentional about setting yourself up and getting your questions answered. And sometimes, you have to fight for yourself because a lot of people will make you work for the information that you need to establish yourself. So I had all those things going on, but I'm super grateful because my transition was relatively easy. I had decided when I wanted to retire and where I wanted to live and the house and all those things ahead of time. So I had been planning and putting those things in order. I also put all my stuff in storage and kind of roommated with a couple people so I could save as much money as I could, pay off as much debt as I could. So I could kind of make life easier on me when it comes to finances and, figuring things out. So, that was a time for sure. And going back to what you said before about stress and being in those positions, honey, I look back now and I don't even know how we did it. Getting up at 4:00 in the morning and getting my workout on or running my 6 miles or whatever and showering at the gym and blow drying my hair and doing my makeup and put my uniform on. And then as soon as I walked into the office, there's no time for me to have a cup of coffee and ease on into things.
No, ma'am.
They're talking half the time. I'd have to say, can I just put my purse down for 2 seconds? Because as soon as I walk through my office, 2 people are following me,
Oh yeah.
And, those long days. And then, you get home and all you can really do is figure out what to eat, shower, and go to bed to do it all over again. So when you don't have all those obligations on you, your body, my body, let me know that I was exhausted. I didn't even know it. But while I had the time to out process and do those things, I was taking naps.
Oh, yeah.
Who had time to take naps in the military? Your girl was sleeping a lot. And I was like, oh my God, I didn't realize how tired I was until I could just kind of, let some of those things go. So I'm telling you, that first year, I tell people, give yourself a year. And then, once you move and, I don't know about you, but every time we PCS'd, I never unpacked everything. So I was carting stuff around for years and years. So, you got to go through all that and set up your house and all the things. So it's a lot. It's a lot. Yeah. But if you plan ahead, I try to tell people to plan ahead and save as much as you can and pay off stuff and, until the dust settles and you get your deposits and you know how to spread your money out. It's a lot.
It is a lot.
Did you go through the same stuff?
Yeah, absolutely. It was the same sort of feeling. I remember like being in my closet and unpacking boxes and just having a nervous breakdown. It was like like a panic attack or something. I was like, what are we doing? Like, we can't possibly live in this house. We can't even afford this, cuz in my mind, okay, because I was like, we're not getting paid. Well, I'm not getting paid. Dominic was getting paid, but because he had retired a year before me, but my paycheck was being affected because the audit that they do and so forth. But I had been so addicted to the paycheck. I was
Yeah.
like first and 15th, and then I get,
Uh-huh.
bonuses and, like clothing allowances and all this other stuff. So I was like, we can't do this. I felt like we were being irresponsible. It was like, yeah, I had this like guilty feeling that we were being irresponsible
Wow.
because we weren't doing like because I wasn't getting paid, right? And then I worried about AJ because he's transferring to a new school. It's much bigger than the schools he had ever been in. And I was like, he is going to get so lost, and he's not going to be able to make friends, and he's not going to be able to, pick up and all these. And I was just so overwhelmed with the transition of like being out of the military. The other thing is, we were getting welcomed, like welcome to the base, whether or not you had a great sponsor or not, it was
Yeah.
still, hey, welcome to the base. We drove out here, ain't nobody welcoming us to our house.
Right.
It was just
Right.
me, Dominique, and AJ. So I felt like that safety net of always having people to take care of you was now gone,
Yep.
you know? And so when you're feeling that, I'm like, now I felt pressured to get a job. That was the other thing. I was like, well, I should be working. Again, I felt irresponsible. I felt like I was supposed to be doing a 9 to 5. So I was like putting in resumes, and my energy was so drained. And I was like
Yeah.
you, I was taking naps left and right. I was like, I just can't even think straight. Dominic would be
Right.
like, what'd you do today? I'm like, I just sat here and I took a nap. It's like, what? Or I'd be walking around in the neighborhood, like aimlessly, like walking around because I didn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah.
So, these things are normal. It becomes not normal when you can't come out of the cycle,
Right.
right?
But in those
So
first couple of months, maybe that first year, you got to give yourself grace.
you do, you really do. And I think that first year is when you really need to like think about what you want to do for the rest of your life. Like,
Right.
where do you want to spend your time at? Who do you want to spend your time with? How do you want to quote unquote make money if that's what you're doing? Do you want to do impact work? Do you want to, spend time with your grandkids or your children? Like, whatever that is. So, the year advice is definitely what I took. Good evening, Queen. Hey, Chevy. Chevy is also retired Air Force. And so she is here with us tonight. Thank you so much, Queen, for being here live with us. Girl, we've been in this conversation. Now we're going to be hitting on health and wellness, okay? Because I think that was part of the transition, the part of the system that I built for myself for transition that helped immensely. I mean, I don't know about you, um, and how you were able to like, reformat your wellness. And I know we're going to talk through that because you're now in this space where that is exactly what you're doing. But okay, so tell us a little bit about your wellness journey. And
Okay.
then, we'll kind of talk through that.
So a lot of people, I tell people this, you might look at me today and think that I have figured it out, that I have, you know, I'm in good shape and I know how to take care of myself. But I started out as a chubby kid who,
Mm,
that poor kid, I to the point where I was very uncomfortable in gym class and I didn't feel cute and all those things. So way back then, probably when I was in sixth or seventh grade, back in the day when ESPN uh, played exercise videos and Bodies in Motion and what else did I watch? Denise Austin and all these things. I became addicted to exercising.
Mm-hmm.
and I lost the weight. Okay, so that
Mm-hmm.
was then. And then from there, I transitioned into joining the military. And, you know, we got fitness tests to pass twice a year, at least, you know.
Twice a year.
So I used to get nervous about passing those fitness tests. So then I said, you know what, chick, you need to make sure that you can pass this fitness test all year. So when the actual graded fitness test comes up, you can do it. Like I said, take that stress off of you. You know you can
Yep.
do it. So
Yeah.
relax.
Yeah.
Did that. And then I kind of evolved into running. I met another mentor. She was a colonel at the time. I was just about to go into ROTC, and she used to run. And
Mm-hmm.
I started running with her and became addicted to running. It was just like a stress release and all those things. Ran races and marathons and 5Ks and all the things. Transition from there to learning how to lift weights and
Mm-hmm.
incorporating not just being the cardio queen, but
Yep.
incorporating lifting weights. And that's where I found the perfect mix of how I wanted to look, feel, strength, all the things.
Yeah.
Did that and have been doing that for many, many years until your girl turned late 40s and 50s. And then our friend
Mm-hmm.
or enemy, menopause hit and
Yeah.
flipped the whole script. Everything changed. I wasn't sleeping good. I was moody. I was getting a little thick around the middle. And everything that I had known to do that worked wasn't working anymore. So I was like, what is going on? Thank God.
Mm-hmm.
I a friend of mine introduced me to a naturopath, and she took all my blood so she could run tests and figure out where my hormones were, what was going on with my thyroid, what was going on with my kidneys, my liver, all the things. And I will proudly tell anybody that hormone replacement therapy is my friend. Okay.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. Mine too.
Did that, made tremendous difference, but I still felt like I was living but not thriving. And that's when
Mm.
I was introduced to all natural precision peptides. And the first time I took some, the first couple days, I was like, what in the world is in this stuff? Because this is magic. I feel amazing. I woke up
Mm.
rested. I was ready to take on the day. I want to figure out what I could accomplish, how many things I could cross off my list. And,
Mm.
didn't lose a lot of weight, but the body composition and muscle
Yeah.
development, all of that started falling into place. So I try to tell anybody who will listen, the older we get, the older our bodies get. Sometimes our body and their functions need to be reminded exactly how to function optimally.
Mm-hmm.
And all natural precision peptides help our bodies do that. And once we take them, our body recognizes them, they're not foreign, and you live in your best life.
Yeah.
So that has been my journey. And I still get up super early. I've been conditioned. I know how I feel when I get up and I work out and I get it taken care of. I feel
Yeah.
even that more productive. And when I don't work out, I'm less productive and a little bit tired. So if it ain't broke, I don't fix it, honey.
Yeah. Listen, you all in my alley, okay? Because this right here. Okay, first of all, I want to acknowledge a few more ladies who came on here. So we've got Nicole here, Colonel Scott's wife. Nicole Scott is here. I don't know if you remember them from Luke Air Force Base, but he was the medical um and I'm how to get these things all right. MDSS commander. Um, so yeah, so she says here
Rosa
transitioning
Scott.
to a new chapter, grace and remember to excel. Yeah, so that's on the transitioning. So yes, such a good advice to have. So thank you, Nicole, for being here, Queen. And then we have Dee Dee. Dee Dee is also retired chief. So she's here. So thank you, Queen, for being
Thank
here.
you.
Appreciate you. And she says, "Oh my God, I'm working on getting my HRT and peptide journey."
Girl.
She
Hey,
ready.
do that thing.
Dee Dee said, "I'm ready. Like I'm ready to feel good." We have so much similarities in the way that we grew up. I was also chubby, overweight for many years. Um, Lost weight before I went into the military. Now I struggled for the 10 years, the first 10 years of my career, trying to figure out how to exercise, how to eat right, and
Hmm.
so it was like starving myself or, like doing, like 1 week's worth of aerobics really, really, really badly, injuring myself, that kind of thing. And then I had to learn how my body responded. But like it was like I had to take matters into my own hands. I did not want to be stressed out on PT test. And so both of us, I know, we prioritized our health and fitness, especially in the military, and that has carried on into our retirement life. Like I
Yes,
work out
ma'am.
every day too in the morning. I get it done because I know I'm going to feel better and I'm going to have more confidence. I'm going to feel my best self. It's just one of those things that your
Look good
endorphins
in
are
your
on a
clothes.
high.
Yes.
Yes, fitting your clothes, which, now that's, part of what I'm doing is helping other women to feel great in what they're wearing. But I think it's the foundation. We got to get this foundation to where it's like you're talking about the peptide journey. I'm talking about, your outerwear and whatnot. And so these things matter. These are like just, I don't even know, like many, um, what do you call them? Like, I don't know if they're signals or just things that you can compound over time that really gets you to a place where you're just like, you know what? I'm unstoppable. I can do
Girl,
whatever it is that I want
honey.
to do. It doesn't matter what time of the day. It doesn't matter how old I am. It doesn't matter, what my past circumstances were. I have the ability to change the narrative.
Yes.
Okay. I have the ability to change the narrative,
In
and that's
full
what I'm
control.
doing.
Yes.
Yeah. Full control.
Take care of
Okay. So,
yourself, sleep good, dress good, uh, love yourself. Look in the
yeah,
mirror
this is
and
an
love
investment.
yourself and know that you look good before you walk out of the door. And if nobody else tells you look good, you know you look good.
That's right. And there will be people that won't tell you because they ain't there. So more
Right?
than that. Dee Dee says she's 2 years into retirement and she is struggling with the next, with my next. The symptoms are real, and hamstrung me from doing anything. So yeah, like post retirement health is one of the things that no one ever talked to me about. Okay, as I was transitioning out, that was my responsibility. But when I started to transition and I saw like the way that we were trained and developed and what we had to wear and, like the boots and going on deployments, these is cumulative. This is stuff that has been over the years that are showing up in post military.
Yeah.
So the transition and really improving your health and taking care of yourself, it's real. It's a
It,
real thing. So whatever you're doing, Dee Dee, to get you on track is the best way that you can honor yourself and really take the time that you need, so that, because we got work to do. Okay, we got impact to make out here. We got
yes.
lives to change, right? And influence. And then we got Glenroy. Hey, Glenroy. He said, good evening. I hope everyone is doing well this evening. Well, we are, and hopefully you are too. And we're so happy that you came here on the show with us tonight, live on the show. So health and wellness is such a big deal. It's huge. Okay. And at our age, there's nothing to be playing with, right? So now we're in this business entrepreneurial world, right? Which is like, I pinch myself every day because I'm like, I'm my own boss. Okay. All right. So what does that really mean? Yeah, right. Because you could do as little or as much as you want, right? And
Right.
so, okay, before I ask you what your typical day looks like, let me answer Glenroy or read his comment. He says, as long as we have breath in our bodies, we have the ability to change the narrative. After leaving the military, stress can become thick. We don't realize how institutionalized that we become as a result of our service. Amen.
100%.
Okay. Yeah, and Dee Dee's on the back end saying she agrees. I'm trying to get her comment up here. Come on now, StreamYard. Let me be great tonight. Okay, agree. She says agree. And Alicia says, I know that's right. Okay. Thank you,
Thanks,
Alicia, for being
Alicia.
here. I'm so glad that you're here live with us tonight on the show. Okay, Queen. And Dee Dee said I fought it for a while. A denial almost.
Wow.
Mm. You know, and I know that could be for real because when we were in service,
Mm-hmm.
it wasn't about us. We had to take care of everybody else. And then any little angst and pains that we had, that was a
Didn't
never
matter.
mind.
You
we,
look.
we don't have those things. We don't go and take time to go really check it out and really ask questions on what's happening, what's going
You
on.
don't have time.
So you don't. You don't have energy. You don't have the capacity.
Right.
So, I understand. I can empathize with that, Dee Dee, that you were almost in that denial phase, but now you're not. You're being fully aware and you're taking, matters. That's what we have to do. And Dr. McLeod is here as well. Crystal,
So
she's here. She was, stationed with me at Ellsworth, my last base. And so she says facts. Lisa said that was a whole word at
Yep.
Glenroy, what he
Yep.
wrote. And then she says, happy to be here, ladies.
Thank
You
you,
know,
Alicia.
so, the typical day for an entrepreneur is different for everybody. I mean, it's like sometimes feast or famine, right? You're really, really busy, or you have a season where there's nothing really happening and you're just building and doing and that kind of thing. So, tell us your experience of your entrepreneurial journey. Just to give anyone that, some little bit of insight of how that looks like for you.
It is, I will tell you that I'm always learning, and there's always something that's going to distract you or make you think that you should be doing this or doing that. I will tell you on my list of things, I have some training to be better on social media and then how to tell my story and all these things. So you have to kind of figure out what matters and your bottom line, what's bringing the money in. And so in my business, and I'm sure with yours, if you aren't talking to people and having conversations to uncover what they need, then you don't have a business. So, of course, I'm grateful. One of my favorite things to do is to meet people and, learn their story and, get to the bottom of any health concerns that they may have and then offer my services. So, I have so many people that I have met, from different networking groups to different women's events and all those things. But if you don't have that initially, everybody has a Facebook page, and I'm sure you got friends that you don't know. How many connections you got on LinkedIn that you don't know? So there's always somewhere to find people. So that's kind of some basic. You can't make money in a business, whether it's a product or service, without having customers or people to sell your product or service to. So
Yeah.
you have to get good and be good at talking to people and not just saying, oh, you need to try this. Talk to them long enough to uncover any need that they may have that you can fulfill or help them with.
Yeah.
So I try to always make sure that I have conversations set up. Then social media is how you let people know that you're open for business. So you have to have a presence there. So I try to be really intentional about posting quite regularly. And then for me, you got to think about your content. And What do you want to be known for? What do you want people to come to your page for? And they're going to be, for me, I'm going to talk about fitness. I'm going to talk about wellness. I'm going to talk about travel. I'm going to talk about my family and military service. So you have to establish some pillars for your social media so people will know when they see Tonya Mack's page, they're going to see one of those things,
Yeah.
So social media, talking to people, always developing myself, professional development myself. So I won't even tell you how many stacks of books that I have yet to read. And I'm a highlighter, underliner, really absorb what a book is telling me. So it might take me a minute to get through a book. And then sometimes it's so good, I have to go back again. Okay.
Mm-hmm.
So, professional development, not only in reading a book, but also in podcasts when you're in the car, instead of, we all want to jam and listen to our music. I do that quite often myself, but I also try to make sure that I make good use of my time and feed my mind and brain with things that will help me in my business. So
Yeah.
there's always something that you could be doing as an entrepreneur, but I also remind myself that this is the life that I prayed about. I'm living the life that I wanted to live and prayed
Yep.
about after the military. So I don't need to stress myself out with too much and give myself some grace. And as long as I'm happy.
Yeah.
What about
I
you?
agree. It's we have very similar paths. And so I love the idea of investing in myself. I just love this concept because I didn't do a lot of the investment. The investment that I did was based on what someone else wanted me to do. Okay. And now I get to invest in the things that I want to learn more or grow more in. And so it's such a different feeling, right? Your attention span is a lot more focused when you're like, well, this is the line of work that I do, and this is how I support and empower the women or clients that I have. This will benefit not only me, but it will benefit them, right? And so that is how I am seeing what I am doing as an entrepreneur. And my day is an ease and flow. Okay. I don't want any pressure. I don't want nothing heavy. I don't want a bunch of people. That's not what I wanted because I already had that and I know exactly what it takes. And so, I think that entrepreneurship is a ways or a means to growing. All right.
Yes.
It's growth. I have seen like the
Growth and
transfer. Yeah, it's like transformation of like
figure out who you are, what you're made of, what you want, what you don't want, all of it.
All of it, and you could spend again as much or as little as you would like. But I'm like you, I'm going all in. I'm like, you know what is this all about? Okay, let's just find out where this is going to take us and just follow that until okay, I got to tell you something else. Okay, but first let's answer some of these comments here. Whoo. Let's see here. This was okay, so Dee Dee's like, oh my God, I couldn't read past 4 pages. That's when I knew I needed help. And you say right there with you on the books, Tonya. She's probably got a whole stack that she's ready to read too. And she's laughing. Dee Dee's like, oh, okay. Okay, Glenroy says we have to be intentional in all that we do, no matter what is going on in life. Nothing in life will come to you on a wish. Where's my little clapper here?
I know.
Okay.
I'm like, wow.
A wish and it, no.
I love this.
There is something that is required. Faith without works is dead. We must have intentional, targeted movement. My movement has brought me to the following update. I have been absent for a while, but he finished his master's of science in mental health and wellness. He took a 6.5-year hiatus from school in order for his wife to enter and finish a doctorate.
You know what I love
Listen,
about this? There's you do have to be intentional. And then you also have to know when it's okay to step back. Give yourself grace to step back. You know what? You don't have anybody's timeline to meet but your own when you're an entrepreneur and when you're doing your own thing. This is so amazing.
this is
I
this
love it.
is everything. Yes, like
He needs to write a
I
book, Glenn Roy.
he
Write a
does.
book.
Leroy was supposed to be on the show years ago, but I don't know what he's slipping on. He had to take the hiatus, so maybe now after he got his master's of science and his wife has got finished that doctorate, he gonna get
I
on the
love that.
show and speak a lot more gems and give us a lot more to chew on because he is a wealth
Making
of
space.
knowledge, making space. And again, I think too we have this in us, and for me it rings in my head all day every day. If not me, then who is
Hmm.
going to create another path? And it doesn't matter how far I go, that is not even the desire. It's if someone else wants to go this path, you can. I mean, you know what I mean? So it's like you can create a business on anything, and if you believe in it and you trust in yourself, it's going to flourish and you're going to thrive. I get that investment principle, Rochelle. So true. Yes, you got to invest in yourself.
Yeah.
Um, and yes. So what I was going to say is in that book, and y'all, it's me and Tonya are reading this. Be the one. Now she's already read it. Now she gifted it to
I'll
me.
pull it out again. I know I got some highlights and dog-eared
Listen,
pages and stuff. You're gonna make me pull it out again.
yeah, my book is like in this bag that I took for a retreat yesterday because I was, meaning to read it. But anyway, um, it talks about the word until. All right. And I'm telling you, this is like it's divine, right? My
It's so good.
slogan, y'all know that it says keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. I never really found the true, not meaning, but why I have chosen to use that word. And it's like it's in there because I knew it's like this is it. Okay? This is it. And we were doing it while we were in service. So we're just translating what we had in service to what we're doing right now. And we're going to do it until whatever the next thing is. Right.
Right?
But
Or
it's
until you
all,
reach your goal, whether it's a financial goal, whether it's building a team, whether it's helping a certain amount of women. The whole point is to never give up. And
yeah,
and when you quit or stop, if you stop, it's a conscious choice because you can, just
yeah.
never giving up, pursuing dreams. It gives me chills.
It gives me chills too. Cause I know like this right here is like something that you have to experience if you're desiring. So this is just a call to action, right? It's not like if you are desiring something different, or you could do both at the same time. If you're doing your job and you may want to, start something on the side where you get the joy, the fulfillment, the sense of purpose, that gets you into, I use it as a distractor when I was still in service because I was writing my first book and I was like, oh my goodness, this right here is heavy. I need something that I can work on when I go back to, back home and I'm trying to decompress. And that's when I started my first book. And so, you never know where things can take you. It's just, you just need to start. Okay. Sometimes that's the word that you need to hear is start. So we are at the top of the hour, like I knew we were going to be. Okay. Cause there's always this is
Oh, good.
yeah, I mean, we could be here for 2 hours. Y'all, I'm gonna be at the Library of Congress tomorrow. And they gave me a list of questions that they're gonna interview. So I gotta like get my clothes ready, look at these questions, uh, all the things. But I just want to thank you for being here on a show with me tonight, my queen, my sister. But I do have two things before we close out for tonight. So one, what haven't you shared in this conversation that you want to share before I ask you the last question?
I just want to encourage people back to my faith. The desires of your heart I believe God has put those in you. So you're doing yourself a disservice if you don't pursue and follow the desires of your heart. Are they scary? Are they kind of, ambiguous at times? Absolutely. But I promise you, you will be so fulfilled. And one of my main things is showing people that it can be done, breaking out of the norm,
Mm.
following your heart, doing the things that make you happy. My whole goal when I am about to go meet my Lord and Savior, looking back on my life and having so many amazing memories, saying I had a great ride, that I did scary things, that I've grown over year after year, that I've evolved. So I just encourage you to be brave, do things that scare you. And if you have a dream of writing a book or starting a company or whatever that may be, really try to do it. Really try to
Mhm.
do it.
Yeah, that's so good. That's great advice. And you're gonna have a lot of people hunting you down. Like, how do you do this again? What are we doing?
Yeah, yeah.
you know so my last question I've asked every guest that's been on here, because I realize that the runway is short. There's we did a long stint of service, and then now it's like, okay, the time is quickly upon us. It's like when you're thinking that service is just like, oh my goodness, it's long, and then you get towards your retirement, like, oh my gosh, it's already here. So I'm always looking at, like 80 years of life, because that's the average lifespan, if you will. And if God gives me those years, I'm gonna be so grateful, because I'm gonna have a big old party and all the things. But anyway, at this party, there are certain things that I want my family and friends to say about me. There are things. And so I am being very mindful of what I am doing every day, so that way when it comes time that they're going to say that,
Hmm.
because I don't want my life to be just existing. Okay. I don't want that for me. Right.
Right.
So if God gives you 80 years of life, and you have a big old birthday party, you invite all your family and friends, what would you want them to say about you?
Oh, that's a great question. And um, I love it because I get asked another question that I always think about. Like when my name is mentioned in rooms, what do I want people to say? So I
Mm,
want people to know that or say that I am love, that I am a relationship chick, that I am a child of God, that um I live my life. I love to travel, and she did that. Um, she's done scary things over and over and over again. A lot of times being the first in her family to do certain things, but um, also realizing that once I learned how to do those things, it's my responsibility to bring people with me. So
mhm,
um, I want people to say that she was real and authentic
mm,
and um, just a real one.
yeah. Well, if they know you like I know you, then they will. Okay. Because, I mean, that's what you described, who you are, and who you have been. And I appreciate you. And I know so many people appreciate your light, your energy. You are the real deal, queen. All right. So I just want to thank you for being here on the show, and taking the time to have a conversation with me to help others. And so I also want to thank our guest, that came here as well, to
Absolutely.
join us for the show. So we had Bonnie, Chevy, Nicole, Dee Dee, Glenroy, Alicia, Dr. McLeod. Just want to make sure we got everybody. Yep, that is everyone. Listen,
Thanks,
y'all, we
everybody.
appreciate you for listening in. And listen, now I'm not probably sure I'm not going to be back here Well, maybe not. No. I will be back here next Sunday at 7 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. So come back and have another guest for us to talk through about living on your own terms. And if you find this is something that you find useful for someone else, don't be afraid to share. All right, go ahead and share it out to them. Also, subscribe to the Slay to Success YouTube channel. Just put in Slay to Success, or you can find me at Rochelle Hemingway, and you see the channel pop up. And there's 1,001 videos, y'all. You can binge watch so many other guests. I also have a show on Tuesday at 10 a.m. Eastern Standard Time, which is called the Rise and Slay Talk Show. So if you want to hear more about personal branding and what that can do to live this unforgettable life that you like to live in this next chapter or whatever your transition is, come on back and I'll be talking a little bit about that. But now we're going to sign off and wish you all well. Have a SLAYMAZING week, okay? Because the week is upon us again. And keep on slaying until you can't slay no more. Bye-bye.
Thank you.
You're welcome. Thank you.